Alrighty, this is video notes for section 9.3 talking about special products. So we're going to look at some examples of polynomials multiplied together that we can use a shortcut to figure out what their product will be. So for example, if you look in the first box, we have x plus 3 squared. If we multiply this out, we have x plus 3 times x plus 3. So x times x gives us x squared. X times 3 gives us 3x, 3 times x gives us 3x, and 3 times 3 gives us 9. We can simplify this to x squared plus 3x gives us 6x plus 9. Now if you look at this final product, you see the first term here, x squared. Our first term in our original polynomial that we're squaring is x, so this is x squared. If you look at our last term, 9 is equal to 3 squared, and 3 is our second term in our polynomial. And if we look at our middle term, is 6x. If we take our first term x and our second term 3, and we multiply this by 2, we get our middle term 6x. So if we see a polynomial that's in the form a plus b squared, our first term is going to be equal to a squared. Our last term is going to be equal to b squared, and our middle term is going to be equal to 2 times a times b. So just by looking at a polynomial in this form, you can write the product by using the formula a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Look at the next example. We have the polynomial x minus 4 squared. So again, this is equal to x minus 4 times x minus 4. If we look at x times x gives us x squared. X times minus 4 gives us minus 4x. Minus 4 times x gives us minus 4x. And minus 4 times minus 4 gives us plus 16. We can combine our like terms, and we get x squared minus 8x plus 16. We look again. Our first term here is equal to our first term in our polynomial x squared. X squared just equals x squared. Our last term, 16, is equal to our second term in our polynomial 4 squared. And our middle term here is equal to 4 times x, our two terms multiplied together, times negative 2. So we can write this in a generic form as a minus b squared. Our first term will be a squared. Our last term again will be b squared. And our middle term is going to be minus 2ab. So we can use these rules to find the products of polynomials much faster. In example number 1, we have 2x plus 3 squared. Our first term here is 2x. So if a equals 2x, our first term in our product is a squared. Remember, we have a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So a squared, or 2x squared, will be our first term. In our middle term, we have 2 times a, our first term 2x, times b, our last term is 3. And then our last, we have plus b squared. B here is 3, so we have 3 squared. We can simplify this. 2x squared, the exponent distributes to both parts in the parentheses, so we have 2 squared times x squared, plus here we have 2 times 2 times 3 gives us 12x. Then we have plus 3 squared is 9. Simplify this, we have 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. In example number 2, here we have x minus 2y squared. So since we have our minus here and we're squaring, we can use our rule to our answer will be in the form a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Here we can think of x as being equal to a, so our first x, or a squared, is just going to be x squared. In the middle we have minus 2a times b, so we have minus 2a is equal to x here, and b is equal to 2y here. And then last we have plus b squared, b is equal to 2y, the square of that. So we can simplify, we get x squared minus 2 times 2 gives us 4xy, plus we do 2 squared and y squared, so that gives us 4y squared as our final answer. We have one more special rule to look at. If we have x plus 5, x minus 5, let's multiply this out. We have x times x gives us x squared. X times minus 5 gives minus 5x. We have 5 times x is plus 5x. And 5 times minus 5 gives us minus 25. When we go to simplify by combining like terms, we see that our minus 5x and our plus 5x cancel each other out to give us 0x. So our final answer is just going to be x squared minus 25. Now, if we look at x plus 5, x minus 5, we can write this in the form a plus b, a minus b. Our first term here, we have x squared is that a, x squared, and our last term, 25, is equal to 5 squared, so we can have b equal to 5 here. So we can write this in generic form as a plus b, a minus b is going to equal a product of a squared minus b squared. So looking at two examples of this, we have y minus 3, y plus 3. So here our a is equal to y and our b is equal to 3. And our formula tells us that the answer should look like a squared minus b squared. So we are just going to have a squared, our a here is y, so we have y squared, minus b squared, b here is 3, so we have minus 3 squared, which is equal to y squared minus 9. In our second example here, number 4, we have 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1. We see our first term here is 2x and our second is 1. So our answer in the form of a squared minus b squared is going to be 2x squared minus 1 squared. Remember, we have 2x squared. This 2 distributes as an exponent to the 2 and the x, so we get 2 squared times x squared minus 1 squared is just equal to 1. We simplify this, we get 4x squared minus 1 as our final answer. So using these rules, go ahead and complete checkpoints number 5 and 6.